Hello, I'm gonna show you my vinyl collection. And I thought I'd talk about it a little bit. So, just got music on vinyl. I'm kind of new to vinyl, so I'm not even sure what the 180 grams vinyl, like what the difference is between that and other vinyls. I just got this. I'm missing Grassroots. I'm missing the Blue Album. I got Transistor. I'm missing Sound System. I got, this was like an original pressing of from Chaos. I just got this. It was the first time on vinyl. I was the last person to get it online. I just included this in here with 311 because Nick Hexum was a producer on this album. So like I think Nick produced, like made the tracks for a few songs on the soundtrack, which is pretty cool. So it's kind of a cool soundtrack. You can kind of tell which songs Nick worked on. I got the Greatest Hits. I got a Love Song remix vinyl from a friend for my birthday a few years ago. I got the remix EP that came with the Greatest Hits. I'm missing Don't Tread on Me. I remember seeing it at 311 Day 2006 for $8. Now it's like $100 or something. But I'll get it eventually. I got the Uplifter Hey You single. I got Uplifter. Got Universal Pulse. Universal Pulse remixes. Stereolithic. Mosaic. I'm not in the Mosaic here of fans because I didn't know. They just said, "Oh, submit a photo for our album or something," and I didn't know, they didn't provide any additional context of what it was. So I didn't submit anything, so I kind of regret that. Anyway, I got the 311 and Offspring EP, or the 7-inch. I got two of them because I thought, well, this says rare item written all over it. So I got Voyager, I got Crash Pad, the King for a Day, and George Clinton and Nick Hexum, Under Your Window Out of the Blue 7-inch. This was like a free promotional 7-inch. Oh, I got their new George Clinton and Nick Hexum LP on the way. Yeah, this is a promotional 7-inch, still got it. I got the This Addiction. You got Bad Religion, Against the Grain, and The Process of Belief. I think this is like maybe Bad Religion's best album, and this is kind of like the best album of the second half of their career. I got Pet Sounds just because I love this album. So it's brand new. I have a bunch of older albums that family friend donated, like, you know, whoops. So, you know, like, it's cool to have a huge, like, vinyl collection all of a sudden. But these are more like the stuff that I've been seeking out. But I got Blink-182. I think this is Blink-182's best album. This Buddha is a demo album, but now they've kind of considered it a part of their main catalog. We got Enema of the State, Take Off Your Pants and Jacket. We got Legend, because you gotta have that. Got the Bouncing Souls. This is a great album. Clash's first album. Still trying to get more Clash. The Crawlers was a band that the drummer of my band, No Ordinary, he later joined the Crawlers, and the Crawlers got coverage in like Maximum Rock and Roll or something, because they were one of the few like bands, independent punk bands, that like went to the effort of putting out vinyl. So I went to one of their shows and got their vinyl, and I don't think he's played with them for very long. This was just some basement show. This was a band, some punk band. I just was buying it to support the band. Daft Punk. I had to get this because it's like their best album. Did to Me. I love this album. I saw them in Eugene in 2006, and I was really drunk. It was a big time, good show. I don't, this must be just from some random show too, but it has the Taxpayers, and it had a guy from Rock Band Night. That was one of his band. He did Rock Band Night, and then he joined a real band on bass, and that was the Taxpayers. Deftones, because I think that this is their best album, I think. And then I got this because I went to a in-store signing session at Music Millennium with Deftones, and I got my picture with Chino Marino, and you know, there's all their covers. I got the Explorers album. This is their 4th album, self-titled, all original songs, but it's just done in the style of 1960s psychedelic pop music. This is a Explorers album, came out on the same day, and it's a covers album. It's all 60s, like from 1967 to 1969 or something, like a very specific window. Face to Face, Live in the Dive. I really like Fat Wreck-Chord's Live in the Dive series. I listened to the Lagwagon one, and that was a really good one. Andromeda Klein. This is a 7-inch from the lead singer of the band, the Mr. T Experience. And after the Mr. T Experience kind of slowed down, the author, his name is Frank Portman, he became an author after being in a punk band, and he had a book come out called King Dork that I really liked, and he came up with a sequel, but this was his like immediate sequel called Andromeda Klein. It's about like solving puzzles and being a teenager, kind of. It's like a young adult novel, but it's pretty cool. They put out a record too for it, and this guy that put it out, I worked with him, and so I was like, oh yeah, the Mr. T Experience from Dr. Frank. So he hooked me up with that vinyl, which is pretty cool. Green Day, this was a huge album for me. This was like basically when I got started getting into music. This is now the first time owning this, because I had Dookie and I had Insomniac, and then it was just expensive to collect music back in the day. So I would just have to listen to this at my friend's house. So he had it. So I was like somewhat familiar with it, but it was a great album, so I had to get it. Incubus, I think this is Incubus's finest album, Science. So, going to push that part away. Now it's on to the next part. So this is, I just got a bunch of records from Fat Records. Lagwagon, they were like, I think the first band that signed to Fat Records in like 1992. Anyway, this is a fine album. It's not their most popular album, but I like that album a lot. And I just saw them last fall. I was thought I was only going to get to see them live like once or twice, but I was glad to see them with face to face. Mad Caddies, Punk Rock Steady. They do, they're kind of, I love ska punk because, you know, bands that get both. They get, you know, reggae ska and they get punk rock. So this is like reggae ska covers of punk songs, so it's pretty fun. Mean Jeans, they're a band from Portland. I've only seen them live like once. I don't really remember much of it, but they kind of have a sense of humor to them. So they're from Portland and they got signed to Fat Records, and I thought that's basically like any punk band's dream come true. So I just kind of took a chance on them. It's like $9 per record for this sale. Masked Intruder, I saw them at Backspace, and then I think I also saw them at on the Fat Records tour 2013, 14, 15 at the Hawthorne Theater. But Masked Intruder, they're a fun band. I'd recommend that album. This album's great, Melancholy. I saw them at the Hawthorne Theater a couple times, and their last two records, and this is the second most recent one, is great. Misfits. I'm actually not as well versed in the Misfits as I should be, but Static Age is great. It's got a lot of the classics of the Misfits. You know, I had to get Nevermind because it's just a classic of the 90s. It's like the album of the 90s, and it's a great album. No Effects, Ribbed. This was basically, as I understand from the beginning of No Effects' career, this is really when they started to become more promising. Their first couple albums were really raw or rough around the edges, but this is where they kind of started to develop their sound more. The Offspring, this is not the official original cover art for this album of The Offspring, and it's missing a song. At the bottom, it's supposed to have a song called Kill the President, but The Offspring got so big because of this album that I think that having a song called Kill the President was not cool or something. To me, I think it's like, I don't know, I think it's great. But I got this in 1994 on CD. Pairs, I just took a chance on this because I heard they were good from a friend on the Fat Records sale, so I just took a chance. I'm not even familiar with this album yet. Need to listen to it. Rage Against the Machine, this album's classic. And I think of the No Effects song that references Chumbawamba Tub Thumper and Rage Against the Machine, The Battle of Los Angeles. Anyway, Rancid and Out Come the Wolves. This is like their best album, most classic album. This is like the more ska punk album. This is the more just straight up punk album. But both are great albums. Revolution, I don't have a lot of like reggae rock kind of albums, but I really like Revolution. I've seen them live several times. I really like them. Self this was an album I grew up with. But oh man, yeah. Anyway, Self is amazing. They're one of my favorite bands. Still need to get more of their records. But this I didn't think I was ever going to own this. I didn't think this was ever going to be released, but this is Ornament and Crime, which was supposed to be Self's 5th major album, and it was completed. Here it is, but it got shelved for like almost 15 years for no reason. It was stupid. But they finally released it. And then this was a fan-made compilation of B-sides from the Ornament and Crime sessions. So someone came up with Ornament and Crime for the name for this compilation of B-sides. But it's like, okay. And then this is their Super Fake Nice. I think this album art was done in a contest to who would, because I think Matt Mahaffey, he was sitting on this title for a really long time, Super Fake Nice, and then they finally came out and this was the cover. This is The Else. I got this in 2007 at a They Might Be Giants show, and they signed it. I think they had them pre-signed, they just were handing them out, but yeah, I love They Might Be Giants. They're one of my favorite bands. Nanobots. There's some good songs on this album for sure. But like overall, it has a lot of novelty kind of songs. Glean has some good songs on it for sure. Actually, this is of the more newer recent albums by They Might Be Giants. I think this one is probably my favorite I like Fun. It's got some really good songs on there. Oh, here's something. Oh, that must be a download card. Okay. Teenage Bottle Rocket. I've only seen them live now a couple times, I think, but they're great. So this was on the Fat Records sale, so just decided to check it out. This is the It's a Small World soundtrack from Disneyland. And I just found this at a record store, and I just thought it was just a funny concept of like the concept of a broken record, and I think It's a Small World, that's sort of its reputation. So I thought it'd be funny to have like this song that's basically a broken record on an actual record. But I have no problem with It's a Small World, the ride or the song. Like, I think it's great. We go on it every time. I think it's great. Weezer Blue Album, I like had to have that. Weird Al Yankovic, I think this is from a family friend, gave me this, so this is like an original pressing from the 80s. But it's like, I love Weird Al, so I had to have some Weird Al. XTC Skylarking, this is like, I got this album because in college, because I had heard someone on the Self message board describe it as the Sgt. Peppers of the 80s. So I was like, hey, that's a pretty lofty description. But I checked it out and I was like, it basically is. It's a great album. I highly recommend it. This is XTC as the Dukes of Stratosphere, 25 o'clock. I think I got this just because, like, look at this album artwork. It's awesome. But it's the 70s, 80s, 90s band XTC from the UK, who never got too popular in the US, but they kind of did something which some authors do sometimes, which is you kind of get bored with your identity as a band or author or artist or something. So they created a fake band which was still the exact same band, same band members and everything, and they just named themselves the Dukes of Stratosphere. And they're basically trying to do a similar thing that the Explorers Club is doing, which is like emulating 60s psychedelic rock, but the Dukes of Stratosphere do a really great job too. And this is another Dukes of Stratosphere album, Sonic Sunspot. And then I got a whole bunch more records, and I plan to continue collecting these, but that's about it. Thank you.